Something is shifting in professional golf right now, and if you have been paying close enough attention, you can feel it in the air. There is a tension building beneath the surface, a mixture of genuine uncertainty and quiet anticipation that only emerges when something truly significant is approaching. At this particular moment, two separate storylines involving Tiger Woods are converging in a way that could redefine everything we thought we understood about the next chapter of his career. Neither story delivers clean answers, and neither one offers the certainty that fans are desperately searching for. That is precisely what makes this moment so compelling, and so impossible to look away from. The first storyline begins with an announcement that sounds routine on the surface, but carries considerable weight underneath it. The United States Golf Association confirmed that Tiger Woods is among the players who have formally entered the U.S. Senior Open, scheduled to be held at Coto de Caza Country Club. That sounds straightforward enough, but the USGA was deliberate in clarifying through a statement to Golf Digest that Tiger's entry was made purely to preserve his eligibility. He is not committed to playing, has not made any decision whatsoever. And when you sit with that distinction for a moment, it begins to reveal something much more significant about where he actually stands right now. Tiger turned 50 this past December, which officially qualifies him for the PGA Tour Champions Circuit and Senior Major Championships. That eligibility threshold matters more than people might initially appreciate. Competing on that circuit comes with one meaningful physical accommodation that could genuinely change his situation. Seniors are permitted to use a golf cart during competition. For a man who has undergone multiple knee surgeries, serious back procedures, and the devastating ankle injury that ended his participation in the 2024 Open Championship. Walking 72 holes of competitive golf has become the single greatest obstacle standing between Tiger Woods and consistent tournament play. His mind remains sharp. His competitive instincts remain elite. But his body breaks down over distance in ways that no amount of mental toughness can fully overcome. The possibility of him competing in events where that physical burden is removed is not a small footnote in this story. It may represent the most realistic and sustainable path to seeing him compete regularly again, and yet even as the golf world is absorbing that possibility, the conversation has simultaneously swung to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, because there is now a serious and genuine debate happening among golf journalists and fans alike about whether Tiger should attempt to play the Masters at Augusta National. During a recent appearance at TGL, where he was competing for his Jupiter, Lynx Team Tiger gave the watching audience almost nothing on the subject of Augusta. A few swings, a composed expression, and total silence on the one question everyone in the building wanted answered. No confirmation, no denial, just stillness. That stillness was loud enough to ignite a full-scale argument among people who follow this sport seriously and care about it deeply. It is the kind of debate that only happens when thoughtful people are invested in the same outcome but have arrived at fundamentally different conclusions about how to get there. The case for Tiger playing Augusta rests on a foundation of respect, historical precedent, and something harder to quantify. He has unquestionably earned the right to make this decision for himself. His presence does not cost any other player their invitation or their opportunity. And perhaps most powerfully, he has defied expectations at Augusta more times than probability should allow, making the cut in each of his last 3 appearances at a point in his career when almost nobody believed he still could. That is not fortune. That is a specific and extraordinarily rare competitive architecture that separates certain athletes from every other person who has ever played the game. The case against, however, is just as serious and deserves the same honest consideration. Augusta National is one of the most physically demanding walks in all of professional golf. The elevation changes are steep and relentless. The rounds run long. 4 consecutive days of navigating that terrain on a body already managing Achilles problems, compromised knees, and a damaged back is not merely a golf challenge. It is a medical one. One wrong step, one unlucky moment on a difficult lie, and you could lose him not just for Masters Week, but for the remainder of the year entirely. What makes this debate genuinely difficult to resolve is that both sides are arguing from a place of deep affection for the same athlete. Nobody is suggesting Tiger is done. Nobody is minimizing what he means to this sport or what Augusta means to him personally. The disagreement is about risk and timing and what it actually looks like to honor a career of this magnitude. Some people believe that showing up is the entire point, that his streak of consecutive cuts made at Augusta is a living, breathing piece of golf history worth preserving and extending, regardless of what his scorecard ultimately reads. Others believe that the smarter and more sustainable version of Tiger's final chapter means choosing his moments with great care, competing in environments where his body can actually support his game, and giving fans more of him spread across a longer window of time rather than one emotionally powerful week followed by months of silence and rehabilitation. Honestly, both of those arguments hold real weight. As someone who has followed this sport closely for a long time, the tension between those two positions feels entirely genuine and not easy to dismiss. There is something irreplaceable about the image of Tiger Woods walking Augusta's fairways one more time, the crowd responding to his presence with that particular electricity that no other athlete in this sport has ever generated. Watching him shape a shot around the Georgia pines in a way that only he has ever been able to do. That imagery carries meaning far beyond any statistic or leaderboard position. But there is also something honest and important in the argument for protecting what remains, for making decisions that prioritize longevity over nostalgia, because a healthier Tiger competing more frequently throughout the year, even in senior events and on a different circuit, ultimately represents more of Tiger than one high-stakes, emotionally charged week in April, followed by a prolonged and uncertain recovery. What we know for certain is this: every decision Tiger Woods makes at this stage of his life is writing the closing pages of one of the greatest careers in the history of professional sports. We are watching it happen in real time, with no prepared script and no guaranteed ending.
Ow.
That is what elevates this beyond ordinary sports coverage. It feels closer to witnessing a legacy being shaped and decided, one choice at a time. And whatever he ultimately determines, whether it is Augusta, whether it is the Senior Open, or whether it is something none of us have yet anticipated, the one constant you can rely on is that Tiger Woods will do it entirely on his own terms. He always has. That has never once changed. And if his career has taught us anything at all, it is that predicting what Tiger Woods will do next is a bet you make at your own risk.